Keep up with custom.
What if the key to business success lies not just in numbers, but in understanding human behavior? This is where the intrigue of behavioral economics comes into play. It's a fascinating blend of psychology and economics that helps us predict human decision-making processes. You see, traditional economics assumes that people are rational beings who always make decisions in their best interest. But behavioral economics? It adds a twist to this concept by acknowledging one simple truth. People are unpredictable and often irrational. Behavioral economics helps us understand why people make the choices they do and how these choices affect market trends and business strategies. It takes into account our biases, our preferences, and the context in which we make decisions. It's like having a secret window into the human mind that can help businesses predict and even influence customer behavior. So how exactly does behavioral economics come into play in the business world? Behavioral economics is not just about economics, it's about the human factor in economics. Dive into the heart of this fascinating discipline and you'll uncover three fundamental principles. These are bounded rationality, loss aversion, and social preferences. These principles are not just abstract concepts, but are deeply rooted in our everyday lives, shaping the choices we make. First, let's discuss bounded rationality. In an ideal world, we'd all make decisions based on perfect information and logical reasoning. But the reality is far from it. We are often limited in our capacity to process information, and our judgments are influenced by cognitive biases. For instance, when faced with a complex decision like choosing a health insurance plan, we might go for the easiest choice rather than the most cost-effective one. That's bounded rationality in action. Next, we have loss aversion. Simply put, people hate losing more than they love winning. Imagine you've lost $20. You'd feel much worse about that loss than if you found $20. This principle plays a significant role in investment decisions. People often hold on to losing stocks for too long, hoping they'll bounce back, rather than cutting their losses and moving on. Finally, there are social preferences. Our behaviors are not just influenced by our self-interests, but also by our concern for the welfare of others. We might tip generously at a restaurant to reward good service, or refrain from littering to preserve the environment. These actions, though not directly beneficial to us, are driven by our social preferences. Now, why are these principles important? They help us understand the irrational side of human behavior, which traditional economics often fails to capture. Businesses can use these insights to design better products, craft persuasive messages, and create strategies that align with their customers' behaviors and preferences. These principles guide how businesses strategize and make decisions. Now, let's see them in action. Ever wondered why Uber's prices go up when it's raining or during rush hour? It's behavioral economics at work. Enter Uber's surge pricing, a prime example of how businesses apply behavioral economics. At its core, surge pricing is a dynamic pricing strategy that adjusts prices for services in real time based on supply and demand. So when demand for rides increases, say during a downpour or a bustling rush hour, prices surge. Now you might ask, isn't that just good old supply and demand? Well, yes, but there's a twist. You see, Uber's surge pricing leverages a key principle of behavioral economics known as loss aversion. Loss aversion is a cognitive bias where people prefer to avoid losses more than they like acquiring equivalent gains. In simpler terms, the pain of losing is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. So how does this play into Uber's surge pricing? Well, when faced with higher prices during peak times, riders are confronted with a potential loss, the loss of time if they choose not to take the ride. This loss of time, coupled with the discomfort or inconvenience of waiting, often outweighs the financial cost of the surge price. In essence, riders are more willing to pay higher prices to avoid the perceived loss, which in this case is the inconvenience of waiting. This decision, driven by loss aversion, benefits Uber by allowing them to maximize their profits during periods of high demand. But it's not just about the money. Surge pricing also helps balance the supply and demand by encouraging more drivers to get on the road during peak times. As prices increase, drivers are incentivized to offer rides, effectively increasing supply to meet the demand. So in a sense, Uber's surge pricing is a win-win. Riders get their rides when they need them, and drivers get incentivized to provide those rides. Uber's success with surge pricing demonstrates how understanding consumer behavior can drive business strategies. And that, folks, is behavioral economics in action. Starbucks' loyalty program isn't just about rewarding customers, it's about understanding their behavior. A shining example of the practical application of behavioral economics in the corporate world, Starbucks' loyalty program taps into the principle of social preferences. This principle suggests that people inherently crave belonging, they yearn to be part of a community, they long to feel special. Starbucks, the global coffeehouse titan, has mastered this art of making its customers feel exclusive and valued. Their loyalty program, Starbucks Rewards, is a classic case of this. It's not just about getting a free coffee after a certain number of purchases. It's about creating a sense of belonging, a feeling of being part of the Starbucks community. The program uses a tiered system where customers earn stars for every purchase. The more stars you have, the more perks you get. This system creates a sense of progression, a journey that customers embark on with every cup of coffee they buy. It's no longer just a transaction, it's a step towards a goal, a step closer to the next reward. This, in essence, is the principle of social preferences at work. Starbucks has made purchasing coffee a social activity, resonating with the natural human desire to belong, to progress, and to be rewarded. It's not just about the coffee anymore. It's about the experience, the journey, the community. But the genius of Starbucks doesn't stop there. They've made their rewards program a data goldmine. Every purchase, every reward, every interaction is a piece of data that Starbucks uses to understand its customers better, to tailor their offerings, to make the Starbucks experience even more personalized, even more rewarding. And the result? A fiercely loyal customer base that keeps coming back, not just for the coffee, but for the experience, the community, the journey. Starbucks' loyalty program is a testament to how businesses can leverage behavioral economics to foster customer loyalty. It's a masterclass in how understanding human behavior can translate into business success. Behavioral economics isn't just a trend, it's the future of business. As we venture further into the 21st century, businesses are increasingly turning to behavioral economics as a compass to guide their decision-making and strategy. This fascinating field, which combines insights from psychology, judgment, decision-making, and economics, is becoming a cornerstone in the boardrooms of forward-thinking companies worldwide. Why? Because behavioral economics offers a robust framework for understanding why people make the choices they do, thereby enabling businesses to anticipate and influence consumer behavior more effectively. In a world where competition is fierce and the margin for error is razor thin, businesses that ignore the insights of behavioral economics do so at their peril. As the global business landscape becomes more complex and unpredictable, the ability to understand and leverage human behavior is becoming a critical competitive advantage. Imagine a future where businesses can predict consumer behavior with an unprecedented level of accuracy. A future where companies can tailor their offerings to the individual needs and preferences of each customer, leading to increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. This is the promise of behavioral economics. The growth of this field is already palpable. More and more companies are hiring behavioral economists, and universities are offering more courses in this discipline. The demand for professionals with a deep understanding of human behavior is set to skyrocket in the coming years. But the impact of behavioral economics extends beyond the corporate world. It has the potential to reshape public policy, improve healthcare outcomes, and even mitigate the effects of climate change. By helping us understand why people behave the way they do, behavioral economics can help us design interventions that change behavior for the better. So as we look to the future, it's clear that the influence of behavioral economics in business is poised to increase. It's not just about understanding consumer behavior, it's about shaping it, guiding it, and leveraging it for business success.